Army! We are the Norwich Army! We are the Norwich
Hey, what is going on, guys? Talk Norwich City here, back for week 11 of the Talk Norwich City podcast. I hope you guys are all doing well. If you're listening on iTunes or SoundCloud, welcome along. As you can see, we've got Stuart Hodge on the podcast today, another commentator. Would you refer to yourself as a commentator?
I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. That's probably nearer the mark.
So if you don't know who Stuart is, I'm sure you've heard his voice before. He does all of the commentary on the Norwich City highlights. Do you do Canaries player as well? Is that a thing?
That's not actually a thing, but it might be in the offing at some point.
He's ruffled a few feathers this season. That's for sure, isn't he?
I love Stuart. I think he's a great commentator. But
Cheers,
we'll get more of his story later on. But obviously, a converted Norwich City fan, would you say?
Yes.
How
Did you read the
down
piece in
here?
the programme?
Yes, I did.
Yes. Bleeding yellow and green now, for better or for worse. How did I end up down here? It was last year. I got a job at Radio Norwich.
Right, okay.
And reading the news and stuff like that, and then obviously being a sports football guy, one thing kind of led to another, and I've been covering the club this season.
Nice.
Doing the comms.
It's a pretty good place to end up, Norwich, isn't it?
The Fine City.
Out of all of the did you know that Norwich is the hottest city in the UK on average, temperature-wise?
Is it?
Yeah, genuinely.
It started sizzling
Saturday.
as soon as I came down.
Yeah. Ball away with you.
So as we always do, we'll have a quick chat about the last game, the final game of the season. It was QPR, a 4-0 win. Chris,
Sorry, before we go into this, I think we need to address Stuart's punctuality, don't we? Stuart, would you
It's
mind
like school all over again.
Do you want to just explain to the audience how late you were?
1 hour and 3 minutes.
So we were meant to be recording at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
I thought that I'd accidentally said 8, but I did definitely say 7.
No, you definitely said 7, but for some reason now everything I manage in my diary.
It's the English-Scottish translation, isn't it? Kind of.
It's not actually that. It's time zones. Obviously, Norfolk's in a different time zone to where I'm from.
So we were getting a bit worried when it got to 5 to 8, and there was still no sign of Stuart. But anyway, he's here.
Eventually.
QPR, Chris, great win.
Yeah, great win. Of course, the sceptics will say it's a wee bit too late. But it was just nice, and I'm still annoyed that I was robbed of 250 quid. All I needed was one more goal, and I would have won 250 quid.
Yeah, you backed 5-0. I suppose that confidence shone through, and who would have
always
thought
going
that
to win, weren't we?
Yeah, but you look at 3 months ago, who would have thought that we would have been saying that we'd be convincing winners over QPR? It shows the progression under Alan Irvine, you could say.
There's also a fact that Holloway's been stuttering majorly
that's very
at
true,
QPR, which is a factor there. But it's just indicative of the season. At home, we've been absolutely cracking at times. There's been some great goals, some really entertaining football. Nothing against them personally, but if you remember the Chris Hughton era, a lot of the football was drab. We couldn't buy a goal, and it was a worse place to go, Carrow Road, at that point. Despite the struggles on the road this season, I think at Carrow Road the fans have had value for money.
See, and I actually think, right, that Stuart has had the wrong season to commentate on Norwich. Because I would have loved Stuart to commentate on Norwich during the Chris Hughton era.
Made it a bit exciting.
To actually make it exciting. Honestly, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's just like, there's another goal! Like, just like constantly. It's just, it's brilliant.
But why? I've never quite understood in this modern age with, they travel up on luxury coaches, they sometimes fly. How can away form be so different to home form? I just don't understand it.
It could be any multitude of factors in terms of the odd game, but when it's something that is a collective malaise that is obviously set in throughout the season, then there's got to be a problem there that needs addressing. As to what that is, I think in different games it's been different things, but the key thing is, I think there's just been times this season the players they've not been capable of delivering a championship performance, because I actually think, and this sounds a bit stupid to a lot of people, but I kind of know where I'm coming from. It'll be interesting to see if you guys do. But I think this Norwich City team this season was more capable of damaging teams in the Premier League with players like...
Still playing that way, on the floor, very trying to pass out from the back.
If you think last season, a lot of Norwich's problems stemmed from the fact that you were just flinging the ball at Mbakani and hoping he could do something. Now, he's a good player. I used to commentate on him when he was at Anderlecht, and he's a very good striker. But when you look at last season, you didn't have the movement, the intelligence in Nelson Oliveira. So I actually think that this team funnily enough, might have scored more goals in the Premier League. The problem is Burton away, Wigan, Rotherham. Different things happened in each of those games, but you've got things like Omar Bogle, who was a conference striker 5 minutes ago, scoring a double. Nelson
The guy who scored for Rotherham, I can't remember his name, but I think that was his first goal for Rotherham and only goal.
Isn't it like a PE teacher or something? Or?
Yes. Probably. I'm trying to remember the kid's name. It was his first game.
Fair play to him, but it's not been that difficult, is it? And
Jerry Yates?
Yes, the one.
And
the knowledge.
On Stuart's comments about not playing a championship way, that's completely gone through the defence, completely.
I mean,
Tim Close.
Interesting comments from Close.
He said better Premier League defender than Championship.
Well, Tim Close has said this week in an interview with Swiss Press that the Championship is the toughest division he's ever played in, and he's played.
Is he talking to the Swiss Press again?
Yeah, he is.
Is he saying he wants to leave again, or is he? That's fair enough, isn't it?
But I suppose it's tough, isn't it? Because you bring them kind of international caliber players in. He was so good in the Premier League, but then. I suppose it comes back to recruitment. Is we've tried to keep that same Premier League team to get us back up, and it just hasn't worked.
I think Alex Neil actually acknowledged before it was actually after his departure, in fact, he said that he was maybe a bit too loyal to too many players. He should have perhaps changed it over a little bit at the end of last season. But to be honest, you can always look back at things with the benefit of hindsight. I think this season it's been good at home, it's been bad away. But from a personal perspective, I've loved being down here and being part of it.
I mean, let's look at the statistics a little bit. I was looking at the league table, joint top scorers
with Fulham and Newcastle.
If we would have won 4 more away games, Burton, Birmingham, Rotherham, one of the others, we would have been like 4th in the table, I think. I suppose it's something to build on, that attacking line. 85 goals this season.
Without doubt.
It's positive, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I absolutely love Nelson Oliveira. I love him.
I think he's brilliant.
He is brilliant every time. And you know what I love about Nelson? It's clear that he really, really bloody cares about Norwich City. Yeah. He's really putting himself about in the right way. And I think because Norwich City have almost, they've given him a lot of trust and said, no, we're going to invest in you, Nelson, and he's giving back. And I 100% agree with, I think it was I can't remember when he said it in his post-match interview, but he said basically, this is only the start. Next season will be better, and I will score more goals.
You look at Oliveira, and he's had a bit of a tough season. The suspensions, the injuries. Under Alex Neil, he was kind of coming on as a sub, but yet he's still gone into double figures for the season, which is pleasing for a striker who hasn't really had a permanent club for quite a while, has he?
Well, see, that's the key thing, Jack, actually. Nelson said in a number of interviews, and I've spoken to him myself, that this is the first club where he feels he can put a few roots down and really show how he is as a player over a sustained period of time. And that level of security is quite important for a footballer. And I think that's why he thinks the best is yet to come. And I think barring injury, that's definitely true. I can easily foresee a situation where he's at least 20 goals next season.
I think he really fits in with the likes of Pritchard, Wes, Maddison. Those
footballers,
players.
That's it.
Yeah, he's very gifted and he's got a great touch as well. I just think he's class.
2 good feet, and it's the way he lasers shots in from 25 and 30 yards.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. Norwich for too long, ever since I've supported them, have tried passing the ball into the net. What I love about Nelson is he's up for just having a ping. He's up for just having a go from nowhere.
I completely agree, but it's not a ping, is it? It's very clever the way
exactly.
He does it.
It's precision. It's a bit like someone that's good at COD or something. They just get the crosshairs and go, and that's what he does.
Yeah, and very true.
I think the goal against Aston Villa at home kind of proves that. It was a beautifully kind of crafted goal.
I love the camaraderie between him and Pinter as well.
Yeah. It's important.
Busy pals.
If you ever play Football Manager as a video game, what you often do, if a player feels homesick, you bring in one of his compatriots to make him feel better. But to be fair, I think that applies to those two here. They're obviously very comfortable, sort of. It's quite a hard adjustment as a footballer going to a foreign country in a different league and that sort of thing. So having someone to help you can be massive.
On that note as well, do you think that Pinto would have left this season had it not been for Nelson? Because I think Nelson really settled in well, and I think Pinto, in my opinion, justified a move away from our football club this season. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I love the fact he's staying. He's one of the best, obviously third best player. But for me, if I was Pinto, I would have been tempted to leave. So I don't know, perhaps, but it's great anyway.
I'll be honest, I don't think he would have got a move based on his first 12 months, so from January to January. But I think at the end of this season, I'm not be surprised if Norwich are fielding inquiries about him, because he's been one of the most dynamic right-backs in the division. In my opinion, the second best behind Tommy Smith at Huddersfield, who I think has been the standout, and I think he got in the team.
I suppose the good thing with Pinto is he has developed as a player, because I can remember the first time we watched him at Carrow Road, we were like, this guy can't defend. I can't remember if it was against Chelsea or something. I think it was an evening game, and he was just bombing up the pitch every time, and we were so exposed.
Honestly, I'll say it, I never ever said that. I've always stuck by
but you just love people who just run towards the other goal.
No. I love players with fight. And I knew he'd come good. He just needed time to settle in.
The new Norfolk Cafe.
Ooh. Do you want to hear, by the way?
I go for it.
Okay.
Stuart, let's talk about John Roddy. I'm sure you've spoken to him a lot. We haven't spoken to you yet about the 7 players that have been released from the football club.
Yes.
Except for John Roddy. I mean, you might not think this is a shock, but any other shocks? Shock departures?
I think there's an argument to say that Ryan Bennett could have... That's brilliant.
I love the way we surprise every single guest with this now. There you go.
It never stops.
It's so good, isn't it? And I think we need to play the whole thing every single time someone comes on.
Right, clapping.
Yeah, a whole lot.
Excellent.
Great bit here, isn't it?
I'm delated with that. It's been worth coming just based on that bottle opener.
Anyway, Roddy.
Yeah, Roddy.
Go on, have a few sips.
Yeah, a wee sip just to lubricate the old mental thoughts. John is obviously a surprise, but I think it comes down to wages. I think he would be on a decent pay packet, and I think that'll be one of the thoughts in his head when he moves. He'll want an offer that's not derisory. Yeah. What he actually said was that the club might not have been in a position to give him an offer that was commensurate with his experience and what he's achieved at the club in this coming season. So it's almost respectful in a way in that situation to let him go. Other surprises, I think there's an argument that Ryan Bennett could have, just on recent form.
Another lover for Ryan Bennett? Joining the Rob Butler Club?
No, I wouldn't say a lover, not at all. But Ryan has had a relatively poor season, but the last few games with Russell Martin at the back,
Brighton
he played very, very well.
Playing for a contract, maybe?
Could have been, but I can understand why he wasn't kept on. Malumbu was a bit of an interesting one, because I'm not surprised he's left. But I remember him with Claudio Jacob at West Brom, and they were one of the most sort of enforcing midfield partnerships in the Premier League at that point. And Yusuf, for whatever reason, just never hit the heights of this football club.
And by the way, every time he's played for Norwich City, he's played well.
I can remember
he's playing a good show.
He kind of had that stint, I'm not sure if it was Howson injured or Tete injured last season, especially at Manchester City away.
I'm pretty sure it's when Howson was suspended.
Yeah, and we kind of deployed a 5-3-2, and Malumbu looked very solid in that. But at the same time, look, is he the type of player we want?
I think a key thing is he's obviously injured quite badly at the moment, but Louis Thompson has shown flashes that he could be a fabulous player, and he's a very similar type of player as well. So I think with Webber obviously thinking about youth rather than experience, and I'm sure Louis Thompson's not in a pay packet like Yusuf Malumbu was. So I think that. I think other than that, to be honest, I think you can understand most of them. Stephen Whittaker's been a really good servant, so I think he deserves an honourable mention.
I think we should talk about
Stephen
Whittaker.
That was actually under my moan of the week, that Whittaker wasn't played.
Should we do
I was really disappointed. I'm no way a Stephen Whittaker fan, but I appreciate his
service.
Not loyalty, but I think he was a very professional player. I think he was just thrown in any position and he played there.
He did. And listen, a total professional. Russell Martin said as much in his pre-match press. I think if I remember rightly, though, Alan Irvine gave a few players the option not to train that week. Yeah. And I'm wondering if Stephen Whittaker was maybe one of those, because he wasn't on the bench either.
I was made to believe the only people that did train was Stephen Whittaker and John Roddy.
I would be very surprised if Stephen Whittaker did train and wasn't on the bench. But listen, I can't actually remember exactly who Alan said trained and didn't.
But look, what we can all agree on is that Stephen Whittaker. Don't get me wrong. I mean, my girlfriend slags him off. Right, hates him with that, venomous hatred. But for me, I mean, he's taken so much stick. And don't get me wrong. I think some of it has been just. Some of it's deserved. But to not bite back with the amount of stick that he's got shows his professionalism. Yeah. We'll never forget that centre midfield position against Brentford, Alex Neil's wonder show, like at that moment. And it was funny because Alex Neil then had the evening with the manager afterwards, literally 2 days after he made that decision, and said, I'm never doing that again.
But wasn't that his second game or something? But I remember it was one of the most...
But regardless,
cataclysmic
Stephen
phases.
Whittaker, great servant. And I think we should talk about Moan of the Week now, because it kind of flows quite nicely, Jack. I'm a bit disappointed that the players released some of them were quite disrespectful. Don't get me wrong, if you're being released, you're going to be pissed off. But you're paid the privilege to be a footballer, and players like Basong in particular, I would have 100% expected him to turn up and take it. Don't get me wrong, I know it's frustrating.
But the thing is, there was an atmosphere of celebration as well. If anything, I think Seb Basong, who's obviously had a few calamities in his Norwich career, but you've got to remember, he was voted player of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's
someone that's done that has been that appreciated by the fans at any point, particularly given length of service, should be turning up and should be saying his goodbyes.
And by the way, how many relegations has he had with Norwich? 3, I believe.
As a player as well. I mean, pretty much every team has been at.
Well, but for Norwich, 3 relegations, we've stuck by him, we've renewed his contract, we've upped the wages, player of the season, and to not show that respect for the fans was kind of disappointing. But look, it's long gone now, and this is the whole process of getting rid of the dregs of the desperate Premier League signings.
I think the interesting thing about Basong is his kids done the lap of honour. The kids went on with another player, I think.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I remember them doing in a previous season.
Because Basong was there along with Lafferty, along with Bennett. They were all at Carrow Road on Sunday.
Yeah, just didn't walk around the pitch.
I want to ask you about Kyle Lafferty, actually.
Yes.
What have you made of his time at Norwich City? What do you make of him as a man, as a player?
Oh, right. Well, I can remember Kyle Lafferty going down like a sack of tatties, as the saying goes in Scotland, when Charlie Mulgrew did no more but sort of look up. It was about that away from him, but Lafferty went down.
Yeah, Rangers,
I can remember, when he was at Rangers.
Are you Rangers or Celtic, by the way?
I'm a Celtic supporter. I'm obviously a nice human being sitting here talking to you. So, no, I jest. But I can remember Lafferty doing that. And if there's one thing I hate in football, it's all the play acting and histrionics. And by the way, how bad were Fulham for that? I don't want them to go up simply based on how much diving and all of that kind of stuff was going on.
I saw that in an opposite way. I was like, if that was Norwich City, I wouldn't care less.
No, Jack, you've got to stop that. That's the problem with modern day football.
Fulham have been one of the best footballing sides in this division.
They have, and I'll tell you what, see that midfield axis of McDonald, Kearney, and Johansson, he was at Celtic. Those 3 together have been, in my opinion, the best midfield triumvirate in the division. Bar none.
Lafferty, anyway. What do you think?
I think flattered to deceive throughout his Norwich City career. I think, to be honest, and I don't mean this to be too disparaging, I don't think Kyle Lafferty is the best footballer in the world. I think he's a very good goal scorer, and I think maybe Norwich City in the Premier League is a bit above the level that he's capable of operating at. And both Nelson Oliveira and Cameron Jerome are better options. So if you're going to play one up front, I don't think it's any surprise he seems.
But at the time we signed him, we didn't really sign him for his contract, really. We signed him for like a year as a boost.
It was a very strange sign.
It was a hopeful, it was like a Lafferty, go on, we'll give you a big club, we'll give you an opportunity. And he didn't deliver.
To be fair, at the time, he was performing better than Dybala, wasn't he? Where was he at? That Italian club.
So Lafferty was at Palermo. And I can remember, by the way, that the president of Palermo called him a womanizer and a bad influence.
Correct.
Which, at an Italian club, is a fair achievement.
Well, we don't want to go into too many rumours, but I believe
we did. We have invited Lafferty on the podcast, and he said maybe. So you never know. In a few weeks,
Kyle, nothing personal, mate. I'm just telling it as I believe it.
So that my moan of the week was Stephen Whittaker not getting played. Yours was Basong. Stuart, what is your moan of the week? It can be anything. I didn't
actually think of this sort of before I came, so I'm just going to have a wee ponder.
You're allowed to not have a moan of the week, by the way. I didn't.
Do you know something? I'm quite happy. My only moan of the week would maybe be, and this sounds really sort of glib and happy clappy, but the fact it's the end of the football season in a way, because it's been such. Personally, from my own perspective, and I think we'll probably come on to talk about this, it's been amazing being involved with a football club so closely, covering them as a member of the press and also doing the commentaries and that side of it. So I think I'm gonna miss it, and obviously nobody knows what the future holds. So
Stuart is the only person that's actually enjoyed the season.
Yeah,
for that exact reason.
I think we've all enjoyed the season. Just there's been some
Have we?
well,
listen,
maybe not.
Don't say that, Jack.
it didn't promise it didn't deliver on the promise that it had. But I think the key thing for me, in terms of the campaign,
all
is
the goals.
There has been so much entertainment.
Won the goals.
It's
as
not
well.
been boring.
No.
The results in Norwich City matches, either for or against, have been pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I think my one positive from this season is that we had a terrible season and still finished 8th. Ipswich, on the other hand, had a good season and finished 15th, were they?
That's because Mick McCarthy plays boring bloody football.
Yeah. They're in. I'll tell you what. I'm going to put some money on them to get relegated next season because I think they're in a whole heap of trouble.
Listen, I think as long as McCarthy's there, they won't. Just simply because he knows how to bore his way to a result in the Championship.
He disrespects their fans so much as well.
Oh, he disrespects everyone. Mick McCarthy's whole. Honestly, Mick McCarthy's one of the most arrogant people I've met in football.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I was doing a work placement when he was at Wolves. Yeah. And just because I was young, he automatically assumed that I would help him lift a box out of his car without even introducing himself to me. He's like, "Give us an hand, son." And I was like, "No."
You help him with the box.
Yeah, you've got to introduce yourself. Totally agree. No
Hi,
time
I'm
for
Mick.
that.
Now lift my box.
To be fair, I was a student. That was the way I would have liked the story to have panned out. I went, yeah.
So, hype of the week. The thing we're excited about. Chris, you can go first.
Oh, I'll be better at this.
Okay, nice.
Hype of the week is the player of the season announcements because although I feel that, obviously Wes deserves top spot, Howson, Pinto, and actually for third place you could have seen Jacob in there, you could have seen Jerome in there, but in general I'm just very happy with the order that landed, particularly Pinto, because again I feel like he's been a lot better than our club this season, and I'm really, really pleased that he's been given the respect from the fans. It's almost like, right, we really know you're good now, Pinto.
Yeah.
Evo!
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I love that chant as well. It's brilliant.
Stuart?
Hype of the week. I think my personal hype of the week is based on Stuart Webber, really. I think that this club is on the precipice of something very exciting.
I love it when someone says that.
I love Stuart Webber.
Yeah,
already.
The Webevolution.
Yeah, the Webevolution.
Yeah. Did you start that hashtag, by the way?
Not really. It was in the Reading game. I was basically like...
I'm alright, mate.
No, I'm good. I was like, Stuart Webber's better than God, and then I was like, basically just kept going up, and then I was like, just give Webber the freedom of the city, basically. Every time we scored another goal.
Listen, the guy has come in. The key thing for me is he has spoken very well and also very openly. And that's a different sort of culture to what has maybe gone before.
We desperately need that at our football club.
Yeah.
100%.
And the key thing for me is, so far, he's lived up to everything that he said he's going to do. Because by speaking so openly, in a way, he's made a rod for his own back.
Rob Butler said that, Chris Gorham said that, but we've already started to see him back up them kind of... Them promises, haven't we? The players released, the staff released. I think that was a big one.
You can't think like that. That's so sceptical.
What's that he's putting pressure on himself?
Yeah, of course.
I think he
good
likes
on
that.
him.
And
It's healthy.
The thing I like about Stuart Webber is I think his relationship with Steve Stone is a good one as well. I like that pairing.
Yeah.
That's got to be strong. And the thing about Webber is there's two relationships that are going to be key for him at this football club. There's going to be the relationship with Steve Stone and the relationship with the head coach if and when he comes in, which I think is meant to be about a couple of weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, what's important for me as well is people make a lot, particularly in British football, about continuity and stability and how you need to give managers a chance. But by bringing in a sporting director, I think you've now got a situation where if Norwich are below mid-table in November, I don't think he'll have any qualms about pulling the trigger, saying, do you know what, I got it wrong, let's go in a different direction. Because he will now be that continuity.
Yeah.
Well, we hope, because a lot of people have said, well, if a bigger club comes calling, he'll probably leave.
Do you know what? I don't think that will happen. Not in the first 2 years anyway, and probably 3. Webber's someone that buys into. I mean, the words that are always used are project and philosophy and stuff like that. But he has bought into the notion of this project at Norwich City. I don't think he'll believe that his work is done until Norwich City are an established Premier League club. I think what he wants to do...
And that's what David McNally said as well.
Yeah, but I think what he wants to do is he wants to come in and he wants to take Norwich City. You think of a West Brom, I think they're a really good example, because West Brom were yo-yoing for years, and then through good management by Jeremy Peace, the chairman, they had Dan Ashworth, who came in and sorted it out, and a role quite similar to Stuart Webber's as well. He's now at the FA. With that sort of model in mind, I think that's what Webber wants to do at Norwich. And he's kind of in a race against time in a way, because after this next season, the parachute payments stop. So Norwich City are then operating in a wholly different financial plane.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of key thing. I'm not saying he has to go up first season, but if we do, then there will be so much scope to push on.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. My hype of the week is... I think the media that surrounds Norwich City, I think we are very lucky with the media that we have.
Thanks, mate.
And I think it's great to have a lot of the journalists that are actually Norwich City fans. The only one I can think of that isn't is Paddy Davitt, but I think he kind of balances it all out.
Coventry are never going to affect us anyway, are they? So.
Can I just, obviously I sort of know these guys and sort of working, not with them directly, but in conjunction with them at home games, away games, press conferences. I think you're absolutely right. I think this part of the country is very, very lucky because it's unique in so many ways. It's obviously a one-club county, but also the journalists covering it are of a very high standard. Paddy Davitt is the single best club reporter I've met, and I've met loads of them in my time. Simply because what Paddy does is loads of journalists will go in and they'll have the line in their head and they'll ask questions based around what the line should be. Whereas what I think Paddy does is he goes in with a list of questions and he's guided by what is said as to what the line will be. And that kind of integrity in a club reporter is not common.
What do you think about his article about Howson, though? He said that Howson was how we could sell Howson. For me, that's stirring the pot a bit too much. I love Paddy. I love Mike. I love them all. I think they're absolutely class.
The one thing
I've got to think at the moment: don't encourage rumours for our key players. Why would you?
Yeah,
surely.
We'll get onto that in a bit. I've got it written down.
No. But what you've got to remember is Paddy's got to look at things with an analytical perspective. So he doesn't need to look at it with a glass of what is best for the club, because that's not his
Norwich
job.
Fan as well, so he doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think even if you were a Norwich fan, if you think that it would be a viable move to sell Johnny Howson to fund other signings, then you should write that article, because that's your job, is to cover the club, to give your opinion on the club, and do that. And by the way, I've obviously sort of extolled Paddy's virtues, but Michael Bailey, Chris Gorham, Rob Butler, you've got loads of good journalists in this area.
We work with great people.
And I think as well, to finally touch on that, I think the club and the players at the club need to respect the local media more, because I know Russell Martin came out in the press last week and said that he doesn't think that the local media have been on the side of the club this season. I completely disagree. I think that the media have told the story very well of how this season has gone. I think they were almost too fair to Alex Neil at times. I think
they could have cut him off at Christmas, but
I think
they chose to back him, to be fair. And it was only, I think it was within the new year that they asked me to, write a wee paragraph about, whether Alex Neil should stay or go. And in the end, every single one said go.
Yeah.
I think the problem I get what Russ is saying. It's just social in general. Social and digital with football are colliding massively at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be this season and next season for them to gel. There are going to be some people that don't get on. Players will be on it. Some players won't be on it. And I 100% actually, I do agree with Russell Martin on one part, that negative social media comments always get through to the players by one way or the other. They've got parents on social media that a lot of them don't know about. A lot of fans don't know about, and they read all these comments, and I think some of them are ridiculous. The amount of negativity on social is ridiculous. It's so harsh.
There is a lot of that, but I think
I think a lot of it this season has been justified, though.
Yes, to a point, agreed, but it's just so over the top.
One of the things, you mentioned Russell Martin, after the Brighton game, the one that went the wrong way.
Yeah.
Now, he's obviously from Brighton. He had
Yes.
family in the crowd. He was obviously really, really raw after it. And he gave one of the best interviews I've seen from a football player in a long time. It was just so honest, so frank. And a lot of people slagged him as if he was trying to apportion blame to other people.
Good on him for being honest.
Do you think it was honest, though? Because at that time, he said that everyone's fighting together, everyone's behind Alex Neil. He then came out last week and said that if Alex Neil would have gone in like Christmas time, we would have probably still got.
He
into
did
the top
what was
6.
right as a captain. He's got
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that's honesty, though, does it?
That's a fair point. To be honest, I'm not...
Because from my perspective, I was at Brighton, I'm sure you were as well. I could tell from that performance that they weren't playing for Alex Neil. It doesn't take a knowledgeable person to know that. And then Russell Martin comes out in the press afterwards and say, yeah, we're all behind Alex Neil, we're all fighting for the same cause.
But the thing is, Jack, is that you're throwing Russ under the bus.
No, I love Russ.
You
Russell
are,
Martin.
because Russ Martin gets dragged out to every single interview when Norwich are playing bad.
Yep.
And every time the fans go, Russ Martin's crap, he's this, he's that. The poor bugger, he's not the one that whimpers away from the interviews, like a lot of them do, by the way. Russ Martin, he faces up to the camera and he says it how it is. And look, and going back to that Brighton game, my old man is buddies with Russ and said that literally he couldn't even talk at the dinner table.
No, I completely agree.
He couldn't talk to his family at the dinner table. Like, mate, you can't get better.
And that is the key thing, because I think a lot of football players go through their career, and don't get me wrong, they obviously, from a professional perspective, and the fact that a lot of them, like if they're any good, are winners, then they get angry, they get annoyed. But nobody in that dressing room, and there are loads of professional and really good players that care about the club there, but nobody comes close to caring about the club as much as Russell Martin.
He's already said that he would like to be manager one day. And the thing with Russ as well is, let's not forget that Alex Neil is young. He's a very young manager.
He'll be a good manager as well.
Yeah, and
he will have learnt so much from what he got wrong.
Exactly. And the thing is that it almost I think that if Alex Neil was older and more experienced, Russ would have taken a lot less flack, because the manager would have given it to the players in a better way. I think Russ took so much shit from the other players this season, and the amount of stuff that
That's an interesting point. I'm not sure of the ins and outs of that, but I think it's an interesting point to bring up.
100%. Russ has stuck by the club since day one. We gave him an opportunity. We signed him for, what was it, 250 grand? I think we said in the last podcast when I checked it. That is ridiculous value for money.
Yep.
Stop slagging him off.
Yeah, if you want to join the Russell Martin fan club, just send your money to Chris and you can be part of it.
You know what, though? I will touch upon just one more thing, is that you look at a player like Adam Drury when he was at the football club, and the guy's a legend, and look what he's doing for our football club now.
Yeah.
He's giving back, and he will continue to give back probably until the day he dies.
Yeah.
And that we need more people like Russ Martin at our football club.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, how good were the Celtic fans at that testimonial?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I was working at the club at the time. They were out in the car park drinking beer at 6:30 in the morning.
Yep.
And
Were you there?
Singing
Were you
about
there as a
Andy
Celtic
McCourt.
fan?
Huddle. Were you there?
No, I wasn't. I did. I watched the game because I don't know. There was some means by which I was able to watch the game, which
Obviously legal.
obviously legal.
Yeah.
And
Where's his
but I remember
testimonials
it.
coming up? Where's his testimonial?
That's it. And by the way, I'm so excited about that.
Who do you reckon it's going to be against?
Shamrock Rovers.
Well, this is I don't know. You just don't know, do you? He is a
don't know.
Manchester United fan. Doubt he'd be able to get Man U,
Blackpool?
but still.
Celtic are like the favourite team for people to do a testimonial
Yeah.
against, because we bring a support everywhere.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I mean, you saw
Who would you
Adam-
support?
By the way, I really like Celtic.
That would
I
be
really
hard.
like them.
That would be. Really
I suppose in a
hard.
testimonial you can support both.
Is your boyhood club Celtic? Yeah, through and through, season ticket, etc.
Yeah, that's like I always said when I grew up, I was going to get a season ticket, and I got a job at IBM about 10 years ago, and it was the first time I was earning enough money to get a season ticket, and I did, and I saw so many good things. Shunsuke Nakamura scoring against Manchester United, and then Artur Boruc saving the penalty that assured our progression to the last 16. Absolutely
Champions
brilliant.
League nights.
Yeah.
And you know what? On a much less scale, under the floodlights at Carrowd on a Tuesday night, I know it's nowhere near paradise, nowhere near Celtic Park, but what I will say is...
Like the Paradise reference.
Thank you. I've been to quite a few Celtic games. In fact, I went to the pre-season at Celtic when Grant Holt scored in the 90th minute.
Yeah.
Classic.
I remember that actually.
I can't even remember my point now, but basically Celtic are a great club.
Cool. Yeah, and Carrow Road under the lights is also can be a special place.
My point is we need to get that fear factor back, and I think Stuart Webber will bring that back to the football club. We had it with Paul Lambert. We really did. We were always going to come back from behind. We were always going to get a point out of the game that we're behind from. And this season, we're just so weak. We're just going to get rolled over at every single angle. Next season, good times are coming.
Love it. Let's move on to some Twitter questions now. We tweeted out and asked you guys for some questions. Some really interesting ones, actually, that we're going to touch on. So the first one is from James, who always tweets in. James, massive thanks for your support, mate. He says, wasn't expecting this guest. Well, you know, here he is, the man himself. Very excited now. Here's my question. What appealed to you in becoming a commentator?
Good question, James. Mackay, by the way, good Scottish name.
Yeah.
Good question. Do you know something, right? See, when I was young, right, I could not kick my own bottom when it came to playing football. So what I used to do is we used to play like sort of guys from, you just call it a housing estate down here, but we call it a scheme. And there was 2 schemes in the village I grew up in, the new scheme and the old scheme. I was for the new scheme. And
this sounds pretty like ruthless.
So by
Glasgow is hardcore.
Well, I'm for Ayrshire, but by birthright, I was affiliated to the Swings Park Scorers, who were for the new scheme. And we used to play against Garage United, who were for the old scheme. And what I would do is I'd run about commentating, like the commentator of the day.
Yeah, I used to commentate on myself in the garden.
But you took us to the next level now.
But what I used to do is set up like group stages, and I'd play as 2 different teams. It was just me. So say it was like Norwich versus Ipswich, I'd always let the team I prefer win, and then I'd commentate and basically just play out like a whole Champions League group stage.
Well, I remember, right, I was absolutely rubbish, and we played with like a few older boys. So there was the two sort of oldest good players were the team captains.
Okay.
And I can remember they're at like half time or whatever it was called because the ice cream van came. And
in Scotland.
What's your go-to ice cream van order?
Back then or now?
Back then.
Probably a 10p mix up, a packet of crisps, and a wee bottle of Iron Brew.
Nice.
Classic.
But so ice cream van came, and Paul Dick, who was captain of Garage United, our fierce rivals, went up to Jason Keane, the Swing Park Scorers head honcho, star striker, and said, right, Jason, I'll buy you a 10p mix up, a bottle of ginger.
Jeez.
And
big stakes.
Aye, maybe a bag of crisps or something. He's like, aye, alright, what? And then he went, right, we want Hodgie for the second half. Jason couldn't believe his luck. He's like, Hodgie's absolutely crap, what you want him for? And he's like, oh, get him to commentate for us the second half. So there you go. I was worth about £1.50 in the 1990s.
So they gave you a bit of kind of confidence to...
no, right, that's where it kind of started. But the moment I knew I wanted to be a commentator was I was really quite invested. Now, I don't like Manchester United, but I loved, and I still love, Sir Alex Ferguson. And I loved the way his teams play.
You got his autobiography, by the way?
Aye, I've got both of them.
Yeah.
One was a lot better than the other. The first one being the better one, managing my life. But I remember watching that run that they had the year they won the treble, and it was the game at the Dele Alpi where Man United went 2 down. They drew 1 each. There was a late goal from Ryan Giggs, I think it was, in the first leg in the semi-final at Old Trafford. They played in the Dele Alpi in the second leg, went 2-0 down after 10 minutes. I was a wee boy, so I was like crying to my mum, like, Mum, they're not going to get to the final. Right? And then Roy Keane single-handedly just dragged them to the final. And Jesper Blomqvist gave the ball away, and Keane had to do one of those, the guy was running through, he took a yellow card out the final, just continued to inspire them all the way to Barcelona. Absolutely brilliant. And Clive Tildesley, who was commentating the run, who, by the way, Alex Ferguson has Clive Tildesley's notes from the Barcelona final framed. There's a wee bit of information for you.
Why?
Just because Clive gave him them, and obviously he was the voice that was synonymous with that run. But Clive Tildesley, I remember saying about Roy Keane that night, he went, Roy Keane has been ubiquitous tonight. And I remember watching that and going, what does ubiquitous mean? And this is before the days of the internet. So I was like, Mum, what does ubiquitous mean? She said, I don't know, son. Right, so I went and I grabbed the nearest sort of dictionary thesaurus, and we sort of 8 or 9-year-old me's like frantically trying to work out how ubiquitous is spelled. I eventually got the definition, and it said like everywhere, omnipresent. And I thought, that combination of educating you and using a word. It's because I've obviously got a love of words, a love of language.
I can tell that because some of the words you're saying right now, I don't even know what that means. But
Sorry, man. Like
but I love
all my
Ubiquitous.
mates say I swallowed a dictionary. Like that's
Hashtag ubiquitous. There you go.
What was the word we used, like, on the very first week of the podcast, and we had to search what it meant?
I quite like cataclysmic personally. But,
that's a good word.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
can't
Isn't
remember
it?
what the word was.
Was that followed by failure?
What, what's your favourite word, guys? Put it in the comments below.
Anyway, James, that is how Stuart wanted to become a
I like
commentator.
By the way, I hope I don't take this long to answer every question because otherwise we're going to be here all night.
We'll fly through them now.
Right, the next question from Canary Scots. Has he ever tried a deep fried Mars bar?
It's absolutely minging.
Do you not like them?
No,
I love
it's
them.
like it's the
Love
combination of like you've got batter, which is meant to be around like a sausage or fish, right?
But why?
And then you've got
Why have you been put into this social norm? Why can't you...
I am not socially normal, but when it comes to the actual Mars bar, just that horrible texture of chocolate and
batter
caramel,
and,
and then the grease of the batter. There's a good Scottish word, creesh, which means like that greasy fat sort of thing you get with chips and that kind of thing.
I
Well,
like the weather words in Scotland. Is it murk? I'll get there in a minute. It's a mixture between
Murky.
really heavy rain and light rain.
do you mean smur or whatever?
Is it? Yes.
Maybe, I don't know.
Smur.
I don't use that one. The two sort of
Have you tried
weather.
tablet? I like tablet. Scottish tablet.
My mum makes good tablet.
Scottish tablet. Search it.
It's basically just sugar in a block.
Yeah.
I had a lot of that when I climbed Ben Nevis.
Didn't you bring some to the football once?
Yeah, I did actually.
Some tablet.
Yeah.
Jack Reeves delights. You've always bought some wacky
Yeah, I
food,
always
haven't
like bringing some snacks. Anyway, I love deep fried Mars bars.
you? Never tried.
Good
them.
on you, mate. You're a better Scotsman than me.
like
I don't
haggis.
like. No, I don't
Haggis?
like haggis either.
Yeah.
Haggis.
Yeah,
Big fan
I'm
of
not
haggis.
No, I
Yeah.
don't like haggis either.
Fair enough.
Are you actually Scottish?
It's just
No,
on the
a
accent.
little bit.
Paul says, does he only own one jacket?
Where is it?
Now, where is your jacket? It's over
just
here. Let me
over
go
there.
and get it.
Go on,
See,
fish
Go and get.
now,
I brought a prop.
yeah, you were saying before that you haven't brought a prop because you were a bit disappointed because Chris had brought one. Your jacket is the prop.
Yes.
I'll go and get it.
Yeah. I like it.
To be fair, I do have more than one jacket, but there's only one that I can rely on to stay waterproof, warm.
But you have that.
Yeah,
there was
no,
a travesty about your orange jacket being retired this season.
People were emotionally
There you
invested.
go.
in
Put the
that
jacket on. Put the jacket on. Come on.
So
There we
I like
go.
it.
Cheers.
Now, I suppose being a commentator up on that gantry, it's all about practicality rather than fashion. I'm not
Well,
saying
that's
this
it.
isn't a
And
fashion
by the way,
podcast.
as you can probably see, I am an icon.
Very nice.
I like that.
I feel more
like the
comfortable
one-
now that
one
I've got the
jacket
jacket on. And by the way, this is the key.
Are
Look
you
at
gonna? Oh,
Oh,
hello.
thumbs through the...
Hello.
that. Yeah. It's like
Nice.
that keeps you warm when it's like cold.
Do you feel like you're just going to start shouting goal and, Graham Dorrans? By the way, I've actually just got a personal request to you. Can you just say Graham Dorrans for me?
do you want me to say it normally, or do you want me to say it in the Nottingham Forest City ground style?
Oh, yeah.
No, Graham Dorrans has just scored a 90th minute win at Wembley to get us promoted next season. How would you comment
Yeah,
on
come on,
that?
here we go.
Who's hitting the
Oh,
crowd?
hang on, Brian. No, let's picture
No,
this.
right. I'm trying to get
Are
myself into
can
the
you get
mood
like
here.
two or three players kind of passing to
Yeah.
you first? Okay, all yours. Stage is yours.
Right, so there's a left back crisis. Whoever we've signed, if Mitchell Dykes doesn't stay,
Yeah,
as
Toffolo.
so Toffolo's in.
Toffolo's there.
Right,
Yeah.
Toffolo's playing, and I need a striker to aim it at. So we go Cam because he's probably
Yeah.
slightly more prolific in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, you can roll on the R. Jerome.
Who are we playing?
Ipswich.
Yeah.
Let's pop it up.
Right, brilliant. So Harry Toffolo coming down the left. He's shown good creativity today, the youngster. He's going to aim that cross. It's towards Jerome. Headed away by Berra. But Graham Dorrans with the strike! Graham Dorrans has scored the goal that's taking Norwich City to the Premier League! Something along those lines. Sorry about the eardrums.
That is the best. That is single-handedly the best 20 seconds of this podcast.
And there was actually a question from someone to say, can you act like Graham Dorrans?
That was amazing. Thank
Well, there
you
you
so
go.
much.
I'm a
You're allowed to be
slave.
late when you put on a performance like that.
Yeah, we'll allow you being an hour and 5 minutes late. Alex Butcher saying, asking which player's name is the hardest to say. I'm going to link with this in with another question that said, why do you say Alex Pritchard's?
Right, so this is a common misconception, right? Now, a couple of things. Firstly, I should say, see when commentators get names wrong, it totally grinds my gears to do the Peter Griffinism. Not that I can do a good Peter Griffin impression, but hey-ho. Yeah, like, I watch Spanish football sometimes. I stayed in Spain when I was a wee guy, so I speak Spanish. So when I see Spanish commentators, like, just totally mispronouncing things, it really annoys me. Because I think, like, basic research is to know how to pronounce something.
Yeah.
There was an entertaining moment at the unveiling of Mitchell Dykes and Yannick Vilschot earlier this season, where I basically said, guys, how do you say your name? And then he's like, big tall guy, obviously, he's like, Mitchell Dykes. And I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of a bit of an anticlimax. And then Yannick Wilschut, as everybody thought he was, Vilschut,
Or Will Shite, as...
Greg Downs.
No. Mark Rivers said Will Shite, didn't
Was
he?
it Mark Rivers? Sorry.
Oh yeah, against Wigan.
Yeah,
oh,
that
I
was
heard
brilliant.
that was hilarious.
And he just kept saying it as well.
Aye.
It was brilliant.
And then kept bringing it up.
Yeah,
like
anyway,
how he'd got it wrong. He said, I said, how do you say your name? And he's like, Yannick Vilschot. Right? And I was like, Vilschot? And he went, yeah, you do it quite good. And I says, oh yeah, it's because I'm Scottish. And he's like, you don't say. Which I thought it was quite good. So yeah, right, like mispronunciations really annoy me. The Pritchard thing, now, I used to mess about doing drama when I was younger. And one of the things they teach you at drama is to pronounce every letter and every syllable. Right. And I try to do that as a commentator. So if you say Alex Pritchard, then you pronounce the D at the end properly. Then it sounds like Pritchard.
Yeah,
Pritchard.
Pritchard.
But
I kind of, because I'm obviously rubbish with my mouth.
Pritchard.
And if you're saying it loudly and quickly, then I can...
Yeah.
Well, that's one aspect. But also, right, I've tried to kind of because a lot of people have brought it up, by popular demand, I've kind of tried to change it a little bit to Pritchard. But to me, that sounds like you're not saying the ND's like name.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just stick to it.
It's like the difference between...
It's your trademark move. I like it.
Aye. It's a bit like being a wrestler.
Bailey had Alex, so you can have Pritchard.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can either have Pritchard, or whatever. So,
or the Magician.
I like to call him the Magician.
No,
but
that's Wes, isn't it?
That is
no, I like to call them both the
Magician.
So I call them... No, so, right, I've got three.
Should like the Master
the Magician,
and the Apprentice.
Right, so, no, we've got the Magician.
Wes.
You've got the Sorcerer.
Pritchard.
And you've got the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Madison.
Booyah!
Hang on, right, I've just got to... So, where does Naismith lie in that?
He's an alchemist.
Right. So do you think Stephen Naismith is... Do you think Stephen Naismith is worth his weight in gold?
Yeah, I do. I think he's a brilliant
I knew
football
you'd say
player.
that. Scots stick up for each other.
No, it's nothing to do with that. He played for Rangers, so I would have every reason to sort of have a go.
Of course.
But Stephen Naismith, firstly, by the way, really nice guy. We were on the same delayed flight
no doubt
together.
about that. Yeah.
Delayed flight.
So, and I managed to have a bit of sort of chat with him at that point, and it was...
what flight?
Going from Edinburgh to Norwich.
Okay.
And basically, it's... I don't want to get sued by any airline, but the airline that it is, I mean, basically you go to the wing of the plane and delay 3 hours. You know what I mean? It's no that great.
Was that mate? It possibly would have been Flybe before they stopped their Norwich flights. Norwich to Scotland.
It may well have been.
Prestwick.
Right, next question. Cal Smith, favourite Norwich goal of the season?
That's
looking all up.
easy. Johnny Howson, Nottingham Forest.
Yeah,
what a goal, man.
Yeah.
That could have graced any arena in world football.
Honestly, I love how he's tried it a few times since then and just got it.
Just shanked it.
Oh, by the way, the banter against QPR when he tried it again. What was that? And all that. That was great. Absolutely brilliant.
That's good.
So you're saying Howson against Forest?
By the way, I would have loved to have heard Stuart commentating on Youssef's goal against Newcastle. I would have absolutely loved it.
Safri.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
Aye, what a goal. It was the genuinely, right, long before any association with Norwich City, that was the memorable Premier League goal
of that season. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think I remember rightly, he didn't even get awarded goal of the season for that.
Did he not?
I don't think
Someone
Howson's
stole it
got
from
awarded. He didn't even get goal of the month, did he?
Yeah, but that's all fan votes.
Yeah.
That's all rubbish.
Yeah, that's true.
No, Norwich's best goal of the season, no question was that, but there have been some good goals this season.
Yeah.
Wes is against Rotherham. For technical ability.
Oh, that was
a really good goal.
border on sexual, wasn't it?
I think it was sexual.
We had a football gasm.
Yeah.
A footgasm? No, that's probably...
We'll leave that one
quickly,
there.
let's move on.
Tommy, if you were shipwrecked on an island with
that's a
3
brilliant
Norwich
question.
players, who would you like to be stranded with and why? Now, I think this is going to be a very long answer.
This could get quite interesting because we need to delve into this as well, Jack.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Stuart, you can go first.
Right, so to pick 3...
Or should we pick them together?
No, I want a shot at this.
Okay, we're all separate.
So I think I would go with Russell Martin to start off with, just because I think he's as loyal as they come, and he would back you up no matter what happened.
If you got the last bit of food, wouldn't he?
If you got attacked by sort of a tribe of people,
he'd be at the front protecting you. Wouldn't he?
He'd be there, and you know what? If you then went on to beat the tribe, he'd be the one sort of telling everybody how well we beat the tribe. So on that basis,
I like that.
Yeah, I think definitely him.
Okay.
I think you need someone that can run quite quickly in these situations. If you spot maybe say a ship that's passing that can de-strand you, right? I think you want Ivo Pinto chasing that ship, going, "Yeah, Captain, come over." You know what I mean? So I think on that basis,
Pinto again just cares so much about his people, doesn't he? So he'll look after you.
Exactly. And then you want somebody that's quite funny. Who do you think the funniest Norwich player?
Funniest Norwich player.
Well,
the Joker is probably.
it would have been Lafferty, wouldn't it?
Oh God.
He would have
Yeah,
been
but that's
the
more
Joker.
that kind of practical jokey.
Maybe you could
thing,
take Lafferty and kind of he could be the bait, just kind of
Yeah, just sacrifice it.
sacrifice laughs.
Who would I say the funniest is?
I'm gonna go on the basis, right?
I reckon Pritchard's quite funny.
Oh, do you know what? That is a good shout.
I reckon he's got really good banter.
Yeah?
Yeah, I reckon so. Yeah. In the interview he did with
John
Big
Rogers.
Grant Holt. Yeah.
Aye, that was exactly it.
And I did see someone tweeted a Snapchat that Yusuf Malumbu put up with Pritchard. Apparently he's just been drunk for the last 3 days, just been on it.
Why not?
He deserves it.
Although, to be fair as well, Tim Close is quite funny as well.
Yeah, that's a shout. I'd take Tim Close. Of
course you would.
Because I think he's got me covered in terms of social media. I think he can keep the social posts
There's no
updated.
connection. There's no connection.
Plus he sells air fresheners, which is great. He sold air fresheners for a charity, which I thought was really cool. And gave
that
them
was
away
very
to charity. So that was good. Tim Close air fresheners. So Tim Close is in there. I'm going to take Evo as well, because I think he's Evo. And I'm going to take Louis Thompson.
That is an interesting show.
I'm going to take Louis Thompson.
Really interesting.
Because Leeds away in the Cup, I think he pulled his groin or something, and he was one of the only players to come and applaud the fans at the end with an ice pack strapped to his leg in absolute agony.
Yeah, that's a good
and
shout.
he was struggling to clap the poor lad, but he done it. He fights for his people.
I like him.
Right, I'm taking buffers. By the way, we say this every time. Do you know what a buffer is?
I don't know what Chris has invented this word.
I tried explaining it to Chris Gorham. He doesn't understand either. How dare he? So you're commentating with Chris, say, and Chris Gorham turns around and went, "What a buffer he is." What kind of player would you expect that to be?
Someone that's sort of big and elbows people.
Correct, exactly. So I'm bringing buffers with me.
Okay.
So I'm bringing big Mitchy D.
Yeah.
He is a buffer.
He is
He is. You open up a dictionary, you go to buffer, and there's just a picture of Mitchell.
Yeah.
Dykes.
So buffer number 1, Mitchell Dykes.
Yep.
Would defend you to the high heel. Massive guy. He'd be the guy that'd be wide awake on Desert Island, just making sure. Okay. Big Cam Jam. You wouldn't mess with Cam and Jerome, would you? Let's be honest.
No, you wouldn't.
So you're basically bringing just a pack of thugs.
No.
Not saying that these guys are thugs.
No. You wouldn't mess with these guys, would you? So
Is this because you're worried
Cam
about your
Jam.
own ability to
Correct,
defend
correct.
yourself? Aye.
And the last one, don't know actually. Perhaps Nelson Oliveira. His red card against Rotherham shows that he's got the ability to be ruthless when it's on the line. So yeah, exactly. So Nels, Mitch, Cam Jam, Buffer.
Nice.
Team Buffer.
The next question, some good. Let me know. Let us know what.
Who's on your desert
3
island with
players
you?
you take to a desert island in the comments below. Another question, I haven't got it on here, is came in later. Basically, they said, what do you do in your week apart from commentate on Norwich City? Not saying that you just rock up for 3 hours a
What
week.
do you
know.
do?
I do various things. So I work. I'm a sort of freelance media guy.
Yeah.
I work doing a bit of digital copywriting. I do, which is really cool.
Digital copyright, explain to me.
It's not like copyright as in copyrighting something so that someone can't copy it. It's writing copy. So it's essentially you get tasked with writing an article about anything Budweiser beer, say. Right? And you've got to write that article and research it and get quotes and do all of that kind of stuff. So I do that kind of thing.
It's a cool job.
I also, like, obviously the football season's stopped now.
Yeah.
But you go to press conferences, you do that side of things. The occasional appearance on Mustard, or more than occasional actually, this season, doing various things. I also work for various other proper media organisations, like I do shifts at Sky, I do articles for newspapers north of the border. It's
basically he's living the dream.
The thing I love about Stuart is a lot of people, a lot of Norwich fans just know about Norwich. Me, probably you. Yeah, Stuart knows about everything, football pretty much.
Everything in the world.
Yeah, just everything. So I think that is all of the... Were there any other questions that you saw that I didn't see?
No, we're good. That's nice.
We've rounded off a lot of things.
Thanks for all the questions, by the way. It's nice that there's like that level of interest. And thanks for having us on, lads.
No, definitely. I was going to speak about the players that maybe we need to keep hold of, and also the Stuart Webber interview, but I think we've probably... We've been on it.
We've gone on and on and on and on about the players, haven't we?
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, that's going to be that. A massive thank you to Stuart. Got here eventually, but you don't know he was late. No, a massive thank you to you guys once again for all of your support on the channel. We've just hit 11,000 subscribers, so nice one. If you haven't already, click subscribe on iTunes and leave a review. That helps us out loads. Boosts up the iTunes ranks. Subscribe on YouTube. Yeah. See you later.